Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, flying solo. So I just want to talk a little bit about the upcoming Warriors Mavericks Western Conference Finals series coming up. It's going to be interesting, really interesting. I would not have expected this. These are the number 3 and 4 teams in the West in terms of seeding. And off the top of my head, the first thing is like, how do you guard Luka? Do you single cover him? Do you double him and force other guys to beat you? He's going to be hunting Steph and Poole nonstop whenever they're in the game. So do you double, or do you just stay home and force him, take everybody else out of the game and make him the guy that just keeps shooting and shooting and shooting, make him shoot 30 times a game? And he's going to get his. You can't stop that. But, there is something to be said for keeping Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson, Bullock, keeping all those guys cold or uninvolved. A lot of people talk about how Luka is kind of like LeBron to some extent, but the way they run their offense, my friend Aaron Matrano pointed this out to me. He's more like James Harden, right? A very ball dominant, 3-point shooting, step back taking, foul baiting guy who looks for shooters on the perimeter when he drives or when he gets doubled or whatever. Of course, the Warriors have a lot of experience playing guys like that, but Luka is a totally different player from James Harden, much better all around, and he continues to rise. I think it's unfortunate that you don't have Gary Payton II because, even though he's smaller than Luka, he is a strong defensive pest, but also he can take some of the other guys out, like a Jalen Brunson. He would have been perfect in that matchup. And the question also is, like, will the Warriors have enough healthy bodies? Because you don't have GP2. Andre Iguodala, he hasn't played much, and he's been ruled out for game 1 already with that neck issue. And then Otto Porter Jr., who has that foot issue. Hopefully he plays, but still, he won't be probably 100% because he's a rickety guy at this point in his career. I mean, you'll most likely see Andrew Wiggins guarding Luka at the outset, but then they're going to switch him so that like Steph guards him or Poole guards him. Jonathan Kuminga, again, I think he will play a big role, especially since Gary Payton II isn't out there. Kuminga, when we first started playing, he didn't foul guys much, but nowadays he does get called for a lot of ticky-tack fouls. So that's on him to realize that he is getting rookie calls, right? So, just him being 6'7" and strong and just a big body to put on Luka is going to be important. But again, it depends on foul trouble, bonus, all that kind of stuff. I think that in the future, the Kuminga-Luka defensive matchup will be really interesting. But right now, it's going to be just let's put the rookie out there and see how he does. The NBA playoff action is nonstop at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. Looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during the NBA playoffs? With DraftKings same-game parlays, you can do just that. Create your own parlay by combining multiple bets like which team will win, total made threes, total rebounds, and more, and boom, you have a shot at an even bigger payout. Right now, all customers can place a same-game parlay with 3 or more legs and get a free bet back up to $25 if one leg doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. That's promo code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. On the flip side, on offense, you have to tire the Mavericks out, right? With all the motion, all the chasing around. Jalen Brunson, not a big dude. He could potentially be a defensive liability that you attack. Dinwiddie, make those guys run around and make Luka work, right? Make him work as much as possible. So when he's lofting those deep step back threes, maybe he's a little fatigued. Maybe they come up short. Maybe they're a little bit offline. You have to make them work on both ends. And with the Warriors, we've talked about the ups and downs of this team. They looked great in the Nuggets series. They looked very questionable a lot of times in the Grizzlies series. So will the shots fall, right? Which team will drain threes at a better clip? And then doubling Steph. The Mavericks are going to double Steph to get the ball out of his hands. And then you have guys like Poole, Klay Thompson, who are supposed to be able to punish them. My question is, like, if Steph gets doubled and he's able to pass out of that to Draymond, you have the classic Warriors 4-on-3, and can they take advantage of that? Can Poole and Klay hit shots? Can Andrew Wiggins be clutch at the right moments? You know that Andrew Wiggins is not going to be the most consistent shooter throughout, but can he hit big shots when the Warriors need them at the end of games, etc.? And another thing is, hey, look, there are no great centers left in the playoffs. They're gone. They're gone. The Warriors went through Nikola Jokic. They went through Steven Adams, and Joel Embiid is gone. DeAndre Ayton is gone. Giannis, even though he's not a center, he's gone. Brook Lopez, he's gone. So, it's not like the Mavericks interior is completely devoid of bodies, but you don't have that force in the middle, right? When Steven Adams started playing, he cut off so many of Steph's drives, Poole's drives, right? Made them turn away or pass out of a drive. So I think that's another opportunity for the Warriors to attack and get to the line. Jonathan Kuminga, some of his drives to the basket, some of his dunker spot stuff. I think that's another place you could probably attack the Mavericks. And then bottom line, it's like, which Warriors team are we going to see? Is it the one that clicks and plays that beautiful brand of basketball and plays efficiently and intelligently? Or is it going to be the one that throws the ball all over the court, has a ton of turnovers, has a bunch of dumb fouls, and can't shoot? I mean, whether or not they can shoot, that will always be an issue from game to game. But the turnovers, those are definitely something that they need to be able to watch, right? Turnovers, fouls, and even rebounding. They battled for rebounds against the Grizzlies, against a great rebounding team. And so I hope and expect that they do the same here. The fewer possessions you give Luka, the better. I guess if I had to give a prediction, I will say Warriors in 6, even if that means them winning game 6 in Dallas. Honestly, if they were more consistent, if we knew that they were going to be the team that we saw against Denver or in game 3 against the Grizzlies, I mean, game 3 was a bit of an aberration because they just shot so amazingly well, then I would be bold and say maybe Warriors in 5. But at this point, especially with the way Luka is playing and the fact that the Warriors are down some dudes, Gary Payton II, Andre Iguodala, potentially Otto Porter Jr., guys who are not like their core best players, but those are dudes they need and use in series like this, when it's about somebody like Luka, when it's about a bunch of guards and wings. It's not about dudes in the middle. It's not about power forwards and centers. So when you lose a lot of that defense, then there's a lot of question marks. That plus the high variance of this Warriors squad. Warriors in 6, I think that's optimistic. Realistic, but a little bit optimistic. So we'll see. It really depends on which Warriors we see from game to game. Also, keep an eye on the fact that all of these Western Conference Finals games, there's only 1 day of rest in between each game. Not one time will there be 2 days of rest. So that is something definitely to watch, to keep an eye on, especially in terms of just like some of the older vets, the core dudes, Steph, Klay, Draymond, Otto Porter Jr., and Andre, if he comes back at all. So that's another reason why I think it's actually huge that they closed out the Grizzlies series and got several days of rest just to recuperate, because it's going to be a bit of a combination sprint marathon depending on how long this series goes. And, when your best players are in their mid to early 30s versus the Mavericks' best player who is early 20s, then that could definitely be an advantage for the Mavericks if the series goes all the way to the end, goes all the way to 7. But that's where guys like Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga will make a huge difference, just in terms of having like that energy and that youth and that ability to just go and to keep going, regardless of like how many days off you get, And I've even talked about someone like Klay. During the season, it felt like when he had more breaks between games, he was a little bit better. I mean, that's probably true for everybody to some extent, but especially for him, when he had less rest. Of course, he didn't play back-to-backs at all during the season, but when there was like a day apart, that's when he would start pressing and his shot would be a little bit more inconsistent. So we'll see if that happens more here. Anyway, that's all I got for now. See you on Wednesday. That's another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Patrick Epino or at Oakland Warriors. Check us out at oaklandwarriors.com, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Oakland Warriors. Also check us out at oaklandwarriors.com, and be sure to tell your fellow Warrior fan friends to tune in and listen to the Oakland Warriors podcast. It's produced by National Film Society and is a part of the Basketball Podcast Network. And if you're so inclined, please do leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify, and leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts. That would be hugely helpful. Thanks for listening. That's it. Music in this episode provided by Paper Sun. Special thanks to Paul Amardo for production support. See you next time, and go Dubs.